We've got a country to save. You know, Democrats push this America is systemically racist lie because they want blacks to feel angry, oppressed, and discriminated against. What, you ask, is the upside? Well, it guarantees Democrats get a near monolithic black vote. You see, Democrats tell blacks that in the quest for social justice and equity, the Democrats wear the white hat, and those Republicans, well, they wear the black hat. It is, of course, a lie, without which Democrats cannot win presidential elections. Now, when I ran for governor in California, I received 3.5 million votes in that recall election, this in a state where non-Republicans outnumber Republicans 3-1. Of the 46 replacement candidates, which included Republicans, independents, and Democrats, I received a whopping 49% of the vote. The next highest finisher got 9%. California has 58 counties, and on the replacement side, I carried 57. I entered the race late, but raised $27 million in 8 weeks. And we got donations from 150,000 individuals, half of whom lived outside of California. Now, why, you ask, would a non-Californian donate to a California gubernatorial Republican candidate? Well, California, if it were a separate country, would be the fourth largest GDP in the world. It is also a state with Democrat supermajorities in the Senate and the Assembly, and where for the first time in the state's history, people are leaving. Blame crime, the high cost of living, homelessness, poor government schools, illegal immigration, underfunded public pensions, the COVID shutdown, excessive taxation, and job-killing regulations. People know that as California continues on this road, it infects the rest of the country. Now, as you know, an LA Times columnist called me the black face of white supremacy. My sin? Well, I noted that according to the Center for Disease Control, a black male aged 10 to 34 is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a white male in the same demographic. This is not a problem. This is a crisis. I advocate school choice in a country where, according to the National Report Card, nearly 85% of black eighth graders can neither read nor do math at grade level. I am pro-life. I support secure borders and national fiscal responsibility. And I know that our biggest foreign adversary is a Chinese communist government, and the Biden administration is encouraging us to become more dependent on a country led by a totalitarian regime that wants to dominate the world. You know, the number one responsibility of government is to protect people and property. Soft on crime, George Soros-backed DAs are doing neither. The people most hurt are the very black and brown people living in urban America the Democrats claim so much to care about. Reduce the chance of a bad guy being caught, being convicted, and being incarcerated, and crime goes up. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid. The 10,000-pound elephant in the room is fatherlessness. 70% of black children enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother. 50% of Hispanic kids, and 25% of white children, which was the same percentage, by the way, as to black children back in 1965. Today, 40% of all children in America enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother. Barack Obama said, a kid raised without a father is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Since the mid-60s, public policy has incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. This is not a problem, it's a crisis. My father, who never knew his own father, always told my brothers and me the following: hard work wins. You get out of life what you put into it. You cannot control the outcome, but you are 100% in control of the effort. And before you complain about what somebody did to you or said to you, go to the nearest mirror and ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? I guess that makes my dad a black face of white supremacy. Well, this son of a black face of white supremacy is considering running again. Considering running again. This time, as I said, considering, this time maybe for president. We've got a country to save. Stay tuned. Got a question for you. Are you concerned with stock market volatility?
Markets closing in on their worst year since the financial crisis.
Since 2020, the Dow closed down more than 1,100 points.
Financial markets had their worst day since the start of the pandemic.
Do you really trust this economy?
The U.S. economy could be headed for a recession.
Tonight, the alarming spike in inflation soaring to its highest level in nearly 40 years.
What if you can invest in a portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market? Well, you can turn your monthly income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and get this, there is no loss of principal if you need your money back, and absolutely no fees. Just log on to investyrefy.com. Folks, I personally invest with my own money with YRefi. So log on to investyrefy.com or call 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. Is the Biden family engaging in unlawful conduct or unethical conduct? Or does it really matter? It certainly wouldn't matter if it were the Trump family.
Well, we found a lot that's certainly unethical. We found a lot that should be illegal. The line is blurry as to what is legal and not legal with respect to family influence peddling. I think people in both parties have argued for many years that family members of both Republicans and Democrats, especially family members of presidents, have benefited from our adversaries around the world. I don't think that anyone would dispute the fact that we need to increase the ethics laws and the disclosures laws. So one thing that we're concerned about, the president, Joe Biden, has said he didn't have any knowledge of his family's business dealings or whatever you want to call them. But we find more and more evidence every day that he was knowledgeable of what his family was doing, and that we believe that with respect to the excessive amounts of money that the family was receiving, they were certainly more than likely getting something in return from Joe Biden.
But he's not Trump, right? Now, in Kansas City, an 85-year-old homeowner shot a black teen who knocked on the wrong door. This is what MSNBC Hee-Haw's Joy Reid said about it.
It was easier than putting Tucker Carlson et al. On the stand, Tim. I mean, the reality is their business model is to continue to lie about democracy, to stoke hate, and even violent rage. I mean, we are seeing January 6th defendants say they were radicalized by Fox News. You're seeing them constantly touting Black Lives Matter as some evil entity. And then voila, you have people who think they ought to shoot Black Lives Matter people or shoot at them. You have young black man go to a door and someone who we don't know what he watches on TV, but you know, it wouldn't shock me if he was watching a lot of black people or violent thugs, and if the one comes to my door, I'm going to kill him. So you combine a lot of guns and a lot of people who are literally being radicalized by a television network. There is no incentive for them to stop doing it, because if they don't do it, Newsmax is out there. OANN is out there. You saw just the threat of those networks rising caused them to dig deeper and to double down on the big lie.
Hide the women and children. We're all going to die. Fox News is causing people to kill people. And then there's Newsmax. And then there's One American News Network. Oh, my God. Notice she made no comment about the white young lady who was surrounded by a mob in Chicago, a mob that appeared mostly black. Mum's the word on that. Now, not that the facts matter, but in recent years, there have been an average annual amount of interracial black-white homicides at about 750. Most homicides are same-race homicides. Most whites who are killed by whites. Most blacks who are killed by blacks. But there are about 750 annual black-white or white-black homicides. 500 whites were killed by blacks, even though blacks are just 13% of the population. And 250 blacks were killed by whites, even though they're around 60% of the population. Again, not that facts matter. Now, in Tucker Carlson's interview with Elon Musk, he asked Musk whether there was evidence of space aliens.
Yeah, I'm, very familiar with space stuff. And I've seen no evidence of aliens. So I would immediately tweet it out. This is split second. That'd be like one of all-time, probably the top tweet of all time. I found one, guys. It's a jackpot. This is some 8 billion likes, Next level jackpot if you find the aliens. Like, I don't think they're keeping this under, and it was like some general, I think in the 60s, who were saying like, show us the aliens, like Area 51, etc. And he said, like, listen, we are constantly trying to get the defense budget to expand. And you know what would really get no arguments from anyone? If we pulled out an alien and said, we need money to protect ourselves from these guys. How much money do you want? You got it. They look dangerous. So the fastest way to get a defense budget increase would be for me to pull out an alien, you know. We're like, yeah, I mean, it could be the invasion fleet could be arriving any minute. Who knows?
Now, maybe, just maybe, there are space aliens that are intelligent enough to get here, but they're also too smart to want to come here. Now, the head of the American Tobacco and Firearms Department was asked to define assault weapon. Watch what happened.
As a gun owner of many different types and a 20-year military veteran, I have some expertise in weaponry and self-defense weapons. What could you, in 15 seconds, would you define an assault weapon for me?
So
if you go past 15 seconds, I'll just interrupt you.
No, so I'll go shorter than that, because I honestly, I do think that's if Congress wishes to take that up, I think Congress would have to do the work, but we would be there to provide technical assistance. Unlike you, I'm not a firearms expert to the same extent as you may be, but we have people at ATF who can talk about velocity of firearms, what damage different kinds of firearms cause, so that whatever determination you chose to make would be an informed.
I'm just happy the ATF guy didn't pull out an assault weapon. Finally, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas got a well-deserved beatdown. Enjoy.
But you are failing miserably. 4 to 5 million people, 1.4 million unknown gotaways. We have no idea who those people are, what kind of security they risk. You're not giving me any stats whatsoever in terms of the number of people that are human trafficked, how many young girls are sex trafficked. You don't have a clue. You wouldn't even answer how many dead bodies, which is very well documented, at the border. Do you not care? Do you not have just an ounce of human compassion for what your open border policy, the type of human depredations it is causing? You just sit there looking with a blank look on your face. And you're saying it's a priority. If it's a priority, how did we let 4 to 5 million people in this country in a little more than 2 years? 4 to 5 million people. The population of 20 to almost 30 states. And you're saying this is a priority? Mr. Secretary, you ought to resign.
Senator Johnson, Secretary, sorry, I'd like you to respond to.
Well, I have a number of responses. The senator mischaracterizes our policies with respect to the security of the southern border. The senator, of course, disparagingly mischaracterizes our commitment to address human trafficking and the exploitation of vulnerable individuals, including children. And the senator misstates the data because he confuses encounters with unique individuals. But a number of things I'd have to say in addition to the senator's statements, and I would look forward to doing so, Senator Johnson, subsequent to this hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
In other words, Senator Johnson, the borders are secure. Now, I know you love the show, so hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button. We want to build up our subscription list. And then scroll down just a little bit and get on our mailing list. Why? Well, because for reasons that are confusing to us from time to time, YouTube has issues with our videos. Well, to make sure you don't miss any of them, get on our mailing list. Also, you see that round donate button? Hit that, throw a little something in the tip jar to make sure we continue giving you great, hard-hitting, honest programming. Finally, LarryWithEpoch.com. That's Larry with EPOCH.com. I am Larry Elder, and this has been the Larry Elder Show for Epoch Times. Remember, we've got a country to save. See you next time.